On the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
Ooh, it's winds. Cold. Howdy, folks. Welcome to 8th Day Chronicles. I'm Darren. Glad to have you with us here. This is Cross Timbers Farm. We are a small family farm that specializes in premium quality hay production. Today's soil sample day. It is late November, almost December 2023. Our hay season is done for the year. We had a great year. A lot of challenges. Nonetheless, a great year. And today it is cool, breezy, borderline windy, but breezy, and chill, a nip in the air. It's that time of year. Our hay fields are looking really good to go into winter, and winter's here. We completed our hay season several weeks ago. The last baling of hay was done, the last harvest off the field, donated, and all the hay through the summer before that sold. There's not a single bale of hay left on this property. We have sold it all and donated some of it. The last cutting we donated due to Hurricane Helene and farmers that needed hay. Our hay season for 2025, it's technically 2024 still. It's November, the last week of November of 2024, but our 25 hay season starts today. We're preparing. Today is soil sample day. If you produce quality hay and your goal is for premium hay production, to be the best hay producer in your area, you need to start right here. Soil sample, soil samples, soil samples. Can't stress how important they are. Last year, we done a test of a home soil sample kit called the Moser-Lee Soil Sample Kit. If you haven't watched that video, go back into our playlist and search for that. We compared that against soil samples sent to the laboratory for a lab test, and the Moser-Lee Home Soil Sample Kit was not bad. It was a pretty darn good test. I was surprised. I truly expected that DIY soil sample kit not to be that accurate. I had watched a lot of reviews on different things and different home soil sample kits. That Moser-Lee soil sample kit for the minerals in potassium, phosphates, iron, zinc, nitrogen, all those other minerals was a little difficult to use. However, I found that if your main objective, as ours is here on this farm, that we have found out in the past that matters the most here on our soil is pH level. I found the pH level test kit in that home Moser-Lee DIY test kit to be pretty darn accurate, on par with what a certified lab told us. So we're out here today. We're going to collect some soil samples. We're in our main hay field. We're going to check here. We're going to check our test plot. We're going to check the west field. And if you missed our last video, the reclaimed field is no longer a reclaimed field. Going into 25, that field, we're not going to refer to it as the reclaimed field any longer, because we have reclaimed it. Thank you, Lord. It's now the West Field. So we're going to collect some soil samples, and we have found out your mileage may vary. We have found out that on our farm, our soil, once we get our pH level to around 7, to that neutral number, not alkaline and not acidic, we hit that neutral spot as close to 7 maybe. If I had to go one side of the 7 or the other, I would go toward 6 3/4 as I would 7 1/4. Once we hit that number, and I'm no biologist, scientist, and I can't explain this. Once our soil pH level gets up to the proper level, all those other soil minerals and nutrients and things of that nature, if our pH level is low, they start doing like this. They're high in one, low in another. And I can't explain this again, but once our pH level levels out to near neutral, all those other minerals start leveling out. I don't understand that. So our main concern here on our farm is our pH level. So today we're going to pull soil samples from all of our fields and test them, the pH level in them, and see what we got. Let's get started. Okay, we have our soil prod down in. We're going to give it a good twist. We're going to pull it out. This is a homemade soil test kit. Look how good that does. All right, we've got a slot cut in it. All this is just a galvanized pipe that I took an angle grinder, cut the slot into it. All right, that's enough for this sample. Let's rake it out into our bucket. We got a good clean bucket here. We got a good sample from our main hay field. Let's move on. And I've got some cups we're going to collect to keep these samples separate one from another. We're going to move on. We're going to collect several samples out of the main hay field and then go start collecting them in other fields. Got our soil samples done. Step 1 of 2025 hay season. We'll be checking those samples with that DIY Mosser Lee test kit very soon and start making a plan for lime and fertilizer, things of that nature. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I almost would garner that we're gonna have to lime. I bet our pH level is back down. Last year it was at a 6 and we limed pretty heavy and that brought it up some. I have found over the years our soil will absorb that lime really, really good. It'll absorb it, and the next year we need to add more. I bet we need to add more. And you got to remember too, when you fertilize and when you lime, you do soil amendments, the hay that you are harvesting off that soil absorbs up a lot of those nutrients. That nitrogen, that lime, the pH level, the copper, zinc, phosphates. A lot of that gets pulled up into that hay grass, gets cut. It's pulling it from the soil into those grasses. Those grasses get harvested into hay bales and are gone off the soil. You have to replenish those nutrients if your soil is like ours. So, I would almost bet a new set of tires for my tractor that we're gonna have to lime again, about like last year, pretty heavy. And we done a little test last year. We put more lime than what a laboratory soil test said we needed on our test plot. Not a lot, but we put more. It worked. It worked really well. You bring that pH level up, and I'm just talking about our farm, our soil here on our farm. When you bring that soil level pH up, the weeds don't like it. The grass does, the weeds don't. So, and lime's not a quick fix. You can't spread lime one day and go back a week later and see results from it. That lime has to take its time to dissolve and soak into the soil, so to speak, to really become effective. And that's why we lime mid to late winter. We don't wait till spring to lime. We lime mid-winter. So when spring comes, that lime is already in that soil good. And we use pelletized lime. If you use pulverized lime, it's just dust. It will probably absorb into your soil quicker. We use pelletized lime because that's what's available to us here in our area. And that pelletized lime takes a little bit longer to work its way into the soil. That's why we choose to spread our lime to adjust our pH level in January, February, somewhere in that area, and give that lime time to work its way into the soil to affect the pH level. So come May, it's working. It's already in that soil and it's doing its job. Looking really forward to 2024 hay season. How did our last season go? If you followed our channel very long, you know we done a lot of soil amendments last winter. We done liming, frost seeding, and then later after our first cut we applied a lot of fertilizer in triple 19, a lot of soil samples. How did we do? How did all that money we put into our soil, and that's what it boils down to when you're looking at a small family farm budget. When you're talking a small farm budget, money going out, in this case it was going into our soil. Was it worth it? Did you reap any return? And you don't know that till your hay season's over. Did you reap return on that investment into your soil? Did it really benefit? Was we better off last year to have just left our pH level as is and let the hay grow however it grew from what we had done before and had less inputs, and let the hay crop be what it is, and the income from that hay crop to our farm budget, and we would come out better because we didn't have any inputs? Did doing all these soil amendments, frost seeding, fertilizing, did that have an effect on the bottom line? If you run a hay business and that's part of your farm income or your whole farm income like it is here for us, it's just like a row crop farmer, soybeans or whatever. your bottom line matters. If it don't, then why are you even doing it? Now, if you're making hay for your own animals, that's a totally different story. We're talking here about selling hay as a crop. Did all those amendments, those inputs and the funds going out into our soils, did it really affect our 2024 hay season better than 2023? We spent more money in 2024, a lot more amendments. Did it pay off? Okay, I've got a cheat sheet here I'm gonna be referring to. I keep very detailed hay notes in our hay journal of everything we do to our hay fields. In 2023, we had 6 total cuts of hay. Okay. 2024, in winter of late 23 and in early 24, we done a lot more amendments. In 2024, we got a total of 9 cuts. That was 3 more cuts on our hay fields than we got the previous year. Okay, how much did our bale total go up? And we donated the last cut of this hay. So if you look at it from a pure business standpoint, that's going to affect our bottom line. However, that was and I'm not going to use the word LOSS because we donated that hay to some folks that needed it. Farmers take care of farmers. So we're going to pretend that last cutting of hay, and it was minimal, but still it was hay that went out, truckload hay. So we're going to pretend we sold that just for this purpose of determining was all of our soil amendments and everything worth it. All right, in 2023 we got 6 cuts of hay total off all our fields. In 2024 we got 9, 3 more cuttings. Okay, bale totals in 2024 we ended up with 101 more bales of hay than we took off of it in 2023. We crunched those numbers on a small farm budget. Was that investment in our soil worth it? Did it pay off? Yes, it did. It most certainly did. We got 101 more 2x2 45 to 50 pound round bales than we did the previous year. And if we had sold all those, we got 4 cuts off our test plot, 3 cuts off our main hay field, 2 cuts off of our reclaim field. And I'm going to say right now, 4 cuts off of our test plot was too much. There's things that happen in the weather you cannot control, and scheduling 4 cuts for the test plot was over the top. Next year, we're going to schedule 3 cuts on every field, and that's it. We will not go over 3 unless something totally unforeseen with the weather happens. And we have an exceptional weather year with no problems with rain coming when we're ready to cut, when the hay gets to a certain growth stage and we're ready to cut, and then it just turns off 7 or 8 beautiful days and then rains after we're done, and then when it's time to cut again it quits raining for 7 or 8 days and it's just beautiful. And we have no droughts, no nothing, no flooding, no bad storms. that's a fantasy scenario. So we're going to schedule 3 cuts in 2025 off of everything. We learned our lesson this past year about scheduling 4. Here in the mountains of western North Carolina, and our elevation and the weather swings we have here in the mountains, we pushed the envelope this year, and next year we're going to be a little more conservative. And let our fields go into winter maybe a little better, and get better cuts when we do cut. So we ended up in 2024 over 2023 with 3 more cuts and 101 more bales. If you go to our bottom line on the inputs into the soil versus the income from the hay, was investing in the soil with those funds worth it? Yes, it was. So this coming year, we're going to invest again in our soil. We're going to check pH level with the soil samples we took today. I can almost tell you what they're going to say. We've been on this farm long enough, and I've done enough soil samples on our dirt that before we even have them tested, I can almost tell you pretty accurately what they're going to be. Maybe one of these days I'll be surprised and I'll go, wow, we're not going to have to put hardly no lime this year. We'll be putting lime. I'd almost bet on it. So thanks for being with us. Let's go do some soil sample checking. We're in the shop, out of the wind. All right, we're ready to check our pH level on the soil sample you saw me collect out of the main hayfield. That's the one we're going to do first. All right, we have our Mosser Lee Soil Master soil testing kit. This thing comes with 40 tests. Can you see there? All right, we done a review on this Mosser Lee Soil Master soil testing kit last year. Feel free to go back and search for that video and find it to see the results of that test we did in that review. We have our test tube already filled with distilled water. Okay, and the tablet for pH level has been put in the water, and it's dissolving as we speak. All right, we're going to go ahead and prepare our lid with the soil. Okay, we have our lid full of soil. Okay, now we're going to put the lid on, just like that. Okay, now we're going to start shaking. It says to invert this thing like at least 10 times. We've inverted it at least 10 times. Okay, we're going to sit this aside for 2 or 3 minutes, and we're going to check it. This is our pH level. According to this color chart, the green right here represents pH. Okay, and let me put that back in the center. There, look at the color of the liquid. Okay, 6 is this golden color at the bottom. 7 is the lime green. Okay, we are a little darker than the 6, but not much. It's starting to get a little bit lime green color, but not much. I'd say we are at a 6, or very minute above 6. So our results, according to the Moser-Lee soil test kit color chart for pH level, which is the green one here, I'd say we're really close to a 6. Not under a 6, maybe just a hair above. So, exactly as I thought. Liming is in our future again. This coming winter, probably in the next 2 months, probably mid-January, we will start the liming process again. This is all part of premium hay production. Lots of folks just are happy with status quo. We're not. We're always looking to improve. This past year, I was very, very pleased with our hay, the quality of our hay, and the production we got. And I'm not ungrateful, don't get me wrong, but you need to be looking always on how you can improve. Is there something we can do to make a good season even better next year? And it starts right here. This little Moser-Lee soil test kit, as far as pH goes, is fantastic. And those little pH probes that you can buy, you just stick in the ground, and they got a gauge on them. Unless you're investing a lot of money in a really high-tech model that's pretty expensive, those cheap ones you buy off Amazon and different places, I don't trust those. This one has proven, as far as pH goes, to be quite reliable. And here we go. We'll be liming again, and we're going to do a little bit more than what's recommended. For sandy soil, for lime, to get your pH level up to close to a neutral, is to add 0.5 pounds per 100 square feet. For silt or clay soil, you add 1.5 pounds per 100 square feet. We're going to go a little bit more than the 1.5. We're going to be putting probably close to 1.75 to 1.8 per 100 square feet. You have to figure all that into acreage. And I'm no math whiz, my wife is. I'll hand her these numbers and say, sweetheart, tell me how many pounds per acre I need to be putting to have 1.8 or 1.9, somewhere in there, between 1.75 and 1.9. How many pounds will I be putting per acre if you figure 1.8 per square 100 feet? And within minutes, she'll grab a pencil and a piece of paper, and within minutes, she very rarely even uses a calculator or anything. She's a whiz at math. And she'll sit down in just a moment with a pen and paper and tell me, here's how many pounds per acre you need to put out. And I can, when she's not watching, I'll get my phone and the calculator and figure it myself. And she is right. So I've checked like that several times, and I don't even check her anymore. She's that accurate when it comes to numbers. We're going to start stockpiling lime here soon. Prices should be down a little bit early winter. late November, almost December. Lime prices should be down a little bit. Hopefully fertilizer prices will be down a little bit. We're going to start stockpiling fertilizer too. Thanks for being with us for this update, I guess you could call it, and end of a season and the beginning of a new season. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Can't wait for 2025 hay season. And we've got some things in the works for our 2025 hay season to bring to you on the channel that I think you'll find quite interesting. If you're a fan of the small scale hay equipment, we've got some things in the works. Nothing's finalized, but we got some things in the works that I think y'all will find really interesting. Thanks for being with us. I really appreciate it. Hey, we've got the best subscribers on YouTube. You guys are fantastic. Love all the comments you leave. Please feel free to leave comments. We love getting comments. Leave some comments. Give us a thumbs up. Help our little channel to grow so we can bring more and more content. Y'all are just fantastic. And we pray that God blesses you and your family and hope y'all have a fantastic day.